Imagine waking up today to headlines not of collapse, but of comeback. While much of the world braced for recession, America's economy quietly did the unthinkable. It bounced back. In the second quarter of 2025, real GDP grew at 3.3%. That's not just a rebound, that's a roar. And it wasn't a fluke. Consumer spending surged. Government investments kicked in. Against the odds, the United States pulled itself from contraction into one of the fastest growth spurts in years. But the question is, what's really fueling this revival? And can it last? Look closer at the labor market. Sure, unemployment ticked up slightly to 4.3%. But let's be honest, that's still near historic lows. Compare it to the long-term average of almost 6%. And suddenly that number feels like strength, not weakness. Jobs are being added steadily, even if at a slower pace. For most Americans, the takeaway is simple. Work is still there, paychecks are steady, and for the first time in years, wages are outpacing inflation. Yes, you heard that right. Real average hourly earnings rose 1.3% year over year, while inflation cooled to just 2.7%. That means the average worker is not only keeping up, but pulling ahead. Add to that a falling poverty rate, down to 11.1% in 2023, and a surprising shift in wage inequality. For decades, it was the rich who pulled further and further ahead. But since 2019, it's low and middle wage workers making the biggest gains. For once, the ladder of opportunity isn't being pulled up, it's being set back down. Younger generations are also shattering the old narrative. Millennials, long called the broke generation, are now wealthier than their parents were at the same age. Rising home values, falling debt, and stronger wage growth are changing the story of generational decline. For once, the kids might actually be all right. Meanwhile, something powerful is happening in productivity. Non-farm labor productivity surged 3.3% last quarter, powered by artificial intelligence and automation. The last time we saw jumps like this, they fueled entire decades of growth. If the trend holds, it could mean faster innovation, higher wages, and cheaper goods, all without sparking runaway inflation. And with programs like SBIR and STTR funneling billions into small business research, innovation isn't just a tech giant's game. It's becoming part of the American DNA again. But perhaps the biggest surprise is what's happening on the streets. Violent crime, once feared to be spiraling out of control, is falling. Murder rates, used as a proxy for overall violence, have dropped in most major cities since 2022. In some places, they're not just declining, they're plunging. The reasons are debated. Smarter policing, a stronger economy, less social unrest, maybe all of the above. But the trend is undeniable. America is getting safer. And on the climate front, something else is shifting. For decades, forecasts about global warming grew darker and darker. But over the last 7 years, those projections have started to ease. Why? Because clean technologies like solar, batteries, and wind have gotten dramatically cheaper. Decarbonization is no longer just the moral choice, it's the profitable one. The economic option and the environmental option are finally pointing in the same direction. Of course, optimism doesn't mean perfection. Inflation isn't gone. Global instability is real, and no recovery is ever guaranteed. But look past the doom and gloom, and you'll see a country regaining its footing. Business confidence is rising. Investors are betting big. Even the Federal Reserve is signaling its first rate cut since 2020, a move that could unleash even more momentum into the economy. In other words, America isn't collapsing, It's recalibrating, adapting, resurging. So here's the real question. Is this resurgence temporary or the start of a new American cycle? Will we build on this foundation or repeat the mistakes of the past? One thing is clear. The story of decline is no longer the only story worth telling. The story of renewal is being written right now, and that's why you're here, to think again. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button, share this with a friend, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to know, do you think America is on the edge of a real comeback, or just catching its breath before the next storm? Don't miss what's coming next.